How has progress gone in part 2 of Gateway to the Past?
Well, it's certainly gone better than in part 1. We've had a bigger group so far in the script meetings. It's gone to about 6 or 7 people. It's been interesting seeing the newer people who have not had acting experience in, say, the Charm series or the Haunted series. We've come along very nicely. Within part 2, I think it's more longer than part 1. We've got so far 32 scenes in part 2. In part 1 we've got 26, 7?
Yeah, but bearing in mind, scenes are all different lengths, so it should just equal itself out anyway.
Yeah, but it could be the case that part 2 could be bigger than part 1 in length and style.
Which would be better? Part
2 is actually more intense because in part 1 it was designed especially to build up to what's about to...
Like beginning and middle, and then you have like conclusion. What do the audience have to look forward to in this part of the film?
Well, in this part of the film, you'll see more dinosaur fights, more accurate resolutions, more accurate endings. Things that we've built up in part 1, you'll see part 2 finally finalise and include them.
Very good.
There's certainly more interactions between characters, say your characters with Ian's and...
Daniel with Nurse Helen?
Yeah, and
in the hospital.
I couldn't answer this question without first giving praise to you and Ian Smith, who have done an excellent job so far. I think Ian's done an excellent job with some emotional scenes and...
He has.
Action scenes particularly.
Definitely action scenes.
He's done excellent work with the modelling and graphics. He's managed to get all this organised, all the casting crew. So we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Ian Smith and certainly for you, who have gone some very emotional scenes and groundbreaking stuff, I may add.
Putting our heads together.
Yeah, well, we all have added our own particular pace and contribution to the actual script itself. It should come to a more dynamic, enthused, more... You'll see a lot more emotion, certainly more intensifying scenes, definitely more suspense and thrills. You'll see a lot more heightened, how do I put this, action. You'll see 3 dinosaurs fighting for the first time. We haven't done that in, say, Jurassic Park 1, 2 or 3.
Yeah, this wasn't quite bad. How would you describe your character and make this snappy?
Well, it's hard to describe one's character. It's a matter of... Well, firstly, I think everyone looks up or hates or despises. And I think my character is certainly the controversial one, apart from Isenhour's character, which is played by Paul, which is a superb actor and...
He is.
Should show his true acting ability and Gateway to the Past.
I really look forward to that.
My character has certainly become very arrogant and very well known very quickly.
Yeah.
He's very sarcastic. He thinks everything he's doing is right. He's only interested in the mission.
Who's your favourite character and why?
Well, I think everyone's got their own unique perspective on it. Ian's character is certainly very, very decent. He's the rookie of the group. I think he's come into conflict with his own ideas of what culture he's meant to be following you, because he's not a hardcore sergeant like mine he's gone from rank to rank and got harder and smarter and more commanding and more efficient and so Ian's character certainly is very... I think he's going to come into his own light, his own colours. He's obviously just getting used to everything, the army culture, how tough it is. He's developed a good relationship with Matthew's character, which is the palaeontologist of the group.
Yeah.
He is the one who shows everyone how to get to the dinosaurs, what their weaknesses are, their strengths, what they do, how they live. He's the one who's spent his entire life building up a career in paleontology around, rocks and digs and...
He's the group's mastermind on the dinosaurs.
Oh,
hence the army rely on him to know where to track a dinosaur.
He's not part of the army culture. He thinks of us as more or less idiots, trigger-happy morons who...
Yeah, because we have that as another conflict. Brains versus like brawns.
I think overall he's quite an isolated character at the beginning.
Yeah.
But he has more relationship with Ian's character, who, because Ian's character, the rookie, has an interest in dinosaurs. He's built up quite a bit of knowledge, and I think can relate to that because he's not so much hard up in the army culture that he can't be related to. So Sergeant Miller or your first character.
How have rehearsals gone? Basically, how have they gone?
Well, there's been a lot of improvement, especially in Paul's character. You'll see his character going from, if anyone sees the Hunted movies, and I do suggest you do, they're very good. You'll see his character go from, I think he played a very small role in the Hunted films, but in this one he's going to go straight on to the main character. He's going to show nearly every expression built by Shakespeare or Dickens. He'll be the art and quintessential determinable force and factor in the actual film itself. It'll be interesting to see his character develop throughout the scenes and see him from an absolute... Have you ever seen Jurassic Park? You remember John's character?
Yes.
He was the rich billionaire, he controlled everything, he was in charge. He wanted to develop a theme park for the world and to show off what he had done for the world. He's going to be that person. He's going to be the one who can justify himself from the beginning, but then realises he's going to be asking himself questions. Was this worth it? Was all these costs because of me? Why did this happen? Even though he is in charge, he is responsible for everything, I don't think he sees himself as guilty. He thinks, well, the army knew what they were signing up for, what their ideas were. I think it'll be interesting to see him progress out. Luke's done quite well. He's developed quite a few good skills. He actually started out as the Source in Charmed, which eventually will be put onto YouTube. You'll see him from I think he's the delivery person at one point, which I freeze him. Very good scene there.
In the very first episode of the Charmed.
And he's the most iconic character you'll see in the Charmed series, which is of course the Source. The Source has the greatest voice I've ever heard.
Don't lecture me!
And he has a... And you'll probably see him kill more of his own men than we do.
Do you have any previous acting experience?
Well, it all started when I was in school, primary school. I actually started in a comedy show. I was actually the main role.
Go on.
I built up quite quickly. They actually thought I was quite unique and well talented at the time. At the end of the primary school, I came on to theatre, which I love, by the way. We did 3 Shakespeare plays. I think we did Hamlet, Macbeth, and Henry VIII. I played the leading role in 2. And I think we were going to do 1, which was between Greece and between Dickens, I think it was Great Expectations you could choose from, A Christmas Carol or Grease, and everyone picked Grease, which I hated.
Most people love Grease, all the music and
no offence,
songs,
but clicking your fingers and going woo 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 is not acting. Shakespeare is acting. Proper emotional scenes, you know, getting dramatic,
Hope there aren't any Grease fans out there watching this.
I know, I'm a crime. No, I love the first film, not so much the second one, but I love the first film.
The second one doesn't quite cut it.
If any of you are thinking of watching the second Grease, don't. The first film is definitely the best one, even though it's not so much... it's a bit conflicting from the play, because you have to speak quite loudly and most of the characters aren't like that. I had to play... who was I? Boyce or someone. And then later on I actually went into the Charm series, which Ian directed, Ian wrote, and you wrote in the episodes 7 and 8.
I did? That's great. What other films did you previously star in?
I didn't star in any previous films, even though I was in the Charm series. This will be my debut, my first film. I hope to contribute as much as I can, give a bigger role as enjoyable as most films I've seen.
Must be an honour for you.
And you remember, this film has been 251 million years in the making.
It has.
And it'll be the best film since Jurassic Park, or the biggest.
So Paul Conway says. But then we agree.
Oh yes, yes.
It will be.
You'll see the best talent in years, in any acting experience, and shall be an enjoyable time for the audience.
How would you describe your acting style?
Well, my acting style first built up when I was in, well, as I said, primary school. I started off as, when you're younger, you start off as a more enthusiastic and dynamically enthused actor, but as you get on you mature and obviously become more constrained and restricted to more emotional scenes. You realise what, you know, hands are for, and emotional features in your face, how to present a emotion if it's needed, the tone, the way you say things, how they're said, how to relate to others, how to use the space around you, whether you should do it in fast motion or not, the pace. It's a matter of perspective on one's actual opinion, but I think one should do it in a more theatrical light. I think that Shakespeare has a lot to offer, and so does Dickens in any play.
Interesting change for you, going from theatre to a series and to a big film.
Yes.
In 2 parts.
But I think the most I've ever learnt of was the Charm series. For many reasons. It's just phenomenal. 8 episodes, 4 hours long, and many, many outtakes.
Many, many outtakes.
So if you get a chance and you want to see the greatest movie ever made since Jurassic Park, stick around.
Thank you, Michael Conlon.
Thank you.
Pleasure having you on the show for too long. See ya.